Hi everyone, blessed be. I wanted to talk to you today about what to do when a pet dies. Obviously, you can do whatever you feel is comfortable, and also it depends on the size of your pet. Obviously, if you've got a horse that's passed away or a large dog or something, you're going to need some help with that. But for small pets like a hamster, a guinea pig, a fish, that sort of thing, quite often you've got this little empty vessel to deal with yourself, and I wanted to let you know what I do. So recently 2 of my goldfish died. I lost Albert and Bubble, so I've only got one little fish left called Finlay. I don't know what happened to them. The tank parameters were fine and everything like that. They just all of a sudden, the one day one died, and then the next day the other one died. There's no sign of disease on the third one. The tank parameters are all normal. The only thing I can think of that's different is there's been a slight increase in the nitrates in my tap water when I tested the water straight from the tap. But I've got stuff I put in there regular to keep that low, and it wasn't particularly high or anything. It was up a bit, but it wasn't high. So I don't know. Albert was old when I got him because he was a rescue, so I don't know how old Albert actually was, and I had him for 4 years. Bubble I had for about 4 or 5 years, but again I don't know. It was a pet shop fish, so might not have been all that. I wouldn't say the pet shop I had them from was the best, so that's all I can think of. But Finn's fine, he's alive and kicking and swimming quite happily. So I wanted to let you know what I did, because you might wonder, well, what can I do when my pet passes away, as a way of sort of remembering that pet, thanking that pet for being your pet, and for that feeling of like letting go and moving on. So first of all, what I did was I double bagged my goldfish and popped them in the freezer, because on the day that they passed, it was a wet, horrible day, and I prefer to bury a pet when it's like a nice sunny day. Whether it's hot or cold doesn't matter, but I like it to be like a nice sunny day. Don't know why, that just feels more preferable to me. So pop them in the freezer for a couple of days while I decided exactly what I was going to do. And from a pagan point of view, it's more a celebration of their life and letting them go and wishing them well for whatever's next for them, whether they come back as another fish or become something else or stay in Summerland or heaven or whatever you want to call it. For me personally, I like to think that they go on to basically live out their time, like have a nice time in heaven. I call it heaven even though I'm not Christian, but that name seems to work for me, the other place. So I like to think that they go there, and I like to think that they're now swimming in streams in warm water with the sun shining on them. They've got plenty of food. I like to think of things like that. So for me, saying goodbye to them is sad, but at the same time I want it to be more about celebrating their life than actually being sad. So first thing I did was sorry, frog in my throat. First thing I did was obviously buried my pets. So what I did was, on a lovely sunny day, which was only a couple of days later, I went out into the garden, found a nice little spot it's got quite a few flowers, because I like the idea of flowers growing from their bodies and carrying them on, sort of thing. I just think that's quite nice. I have to bury them a bit deep because we get foxes in my garden, and I have had a goldfish before where the fox dug it back up. That was years ago, but I've learnt my lesson since then. So I either put something heavy on top of the spot where I've buried the fish or bury it deep. Well, I buried them deep. So what I did is I went out, took them outside, prepared the earth. So I dug a hole, When you bury your pet, you can place into the hole herbs or rose petals or nothing if you prefer. You can prepare a coffin for your pet if you want to. I have done in the past with little cardboard boxes. This time I've felt better just to return the pet to nature, to the earth, without like a box or anything like that. I felt they've been they're in a tank all their life, so they've been in a box for long enough. This is like a sort of setting them free. So I prepared the earth and placed my 2 fish in there, and then what I did is I just looked at them for a little bit, and they looked perfectly fine because obviously they'd been frozen for a couple of days, so there was nothing horrible to look at. They was just still. And I looked at my 2 fish and I thanked them for being my pet. I thanked them for keeping me company on moments where, because I had some really dark days when I had them when they were younger, and I thanked them for keeping me company. I thanked them for giving me a purpose, because when my mood's really low, I always still look after my animals, and that's the thing that keeps me going, as well as obviously caring for my family. And I'll talk to my pets, and they keep me company as well. I mean, I know I've got family as well, but they're just something that's personal for me. So like if I feel like I just want to vent or talk or something, I can either speak to a family member or I chat to my pets, which I quite often do. So I thank them for that. I thank them for being happy fish and healthy fish up until this point. I thank them for being my pet, and then I gently covered them over with soil. And then what I did next was plant some flowers over the top of them, and just say, thank you and goodbye. It didn't feel sad. It just felt like, yep, this is done now. They're at rest, sort of thing. And then what I like to do when a pet passes away is I will light a candle for them. So this is a little charity shop dish. It's like a sweet dish, I think it was, or a sugar dish or something. And it's silver plate with like a blue glass innard. And then I'll show you on the footage in a bit. Inside here is some sand and some rose petals and some lavender. I've put rose petals in for it to represent the love that I felt for my pets, I should say. And lavender because I like the smell and I use lavender for everything. And then I've put a white candle in there, and it's quite a big one of the big tea lights. And what I'll do is I'll just burn that for a few days until I feel I've burnt it for long enough. What I normally do is I burn it until the candle's finished. It's just sort of a way of wishing them well on their way, lighting their way into whatever their next path is, and just marking the occasion. So yeah, that's what I do when a pet passes away. I did the same thing when my relative's guinea pig died, except obviously I didn't deal with the guinea pig burial or anything. I just lit a candle for 3 days. I lit a candle for 3 days for the guinea pig, just to say, thank you for being a very good pet, and thank you for keeping the family member happy and showing the affection that you did, and say goodbye and blessed be to you, and that's it. So that's how you can say goodbye to a pet if you are pagan. There are different ways. I mean, if you Google there's loads, and there's different rhymes and things that you can say. I prefer to just say my own. I tend to say what naturally comes to me in the moment, because then that's what feels most right to me. And it's usually, thank you, and thank you for all your help. Thank you for being there for, and thank you for being my pet, and blessed be to you, sort of thing. And then say goodbye. So yeah, I try not to make it a sad occasion, more of a sort of celebrating their life. But obviously, if you're sad, you're sad. It depends on how you react For some reason this time it didn't seem as sad as it did last time. I don't know why, but then the last one that died I felt really sad, so I don't know. It's just how I've reacted this time. I think it's because I kind of knew something was up, because the one had been acting funny for a couple of days, so but I'd put medication in and stuff, just couldn't figure out what it was. So maybe I half expected it, and I've had other things that more pressing that have occupied my mind, maybe. I don't know. But I just think it's a nice thing to do, to say goodbye to a beloved pet. So yeah, hope you've found this video useful. I'm going to include now some footage of me preparing this little bowl, this little tribute bowl. Oh, what you can also do as well is put things on your altar to represent your pet. So you can add onto your altar a photograph of your pet, their favourite toy. You could add a little bit of their food or something, the pet's collar if it's like a cat or a dog. For the fish, I'd just add a picture of the fish on my altar space, but I haven't been able to print them off yet because my printer's not working. So what I'm going to do is at some point print off a photo and I'll add it to my altar space and keep it on there as like a sort of reminder and a sort of like, you know, little memorial for them. So yeah, so now I'll show you the bowl part where I prepared the little bowl, and what I do is I will light that for 3 days in a row, while I'm obviously in the room. If you're not in the room, you'll have to put the candle out obviously for safety, and I'll just, for this one, because it's a larger one, because it's 2 pets, it was 2 fish, I'm going to burn it for a bit longer until the candle's finished. So yeah. Okay, so first of all, you take your container. It can be any container, like a glass vase, a jar, a bottle, anything that you can fit a candle in. Obviously not a bottle really, but like a jar, a vase, an old candle holder, that sort of thing. And the first thing I did was I added some sand in the bottom. Because it keeps the candle from moving, and I like how it looks with the little silver glitters and the herbs mixed in that I've put in there, which is lavender and some rose petals. I just like how it looks. And also I used to have sand in the bottom of the fish tank, so for me it's gone kind of a little bit of something that represents the fish and the life that they had. But I like it mainly because aesthetically I think it looks quite nice. And then I added in some rose petals. I had a few in before, but I added some more in. This is to represent the love that I had for the pets. So I wanted to sprinkle some rose petals around, and plus they smell quite nice. These are just some dried roses from the summer last year, I think it was, when I dried them out. And I just sprinkle in as much as I think I need, and then I added some lavender as well. I added lavender because I like it, and I use lavender in everything. Again, I like the smell. I wanted some nice pleasing smells to come from this. Then I added my candle in the middle, and I chose a slightly larger one this time. Normally I use like a standard tea light size, and I will light one tea light candle each day for 3 days, but for this time I just felt that I wanted to use the bigger candle, and I'll just burn this over a few days. Basically when I'm in the room in my art studio working, I will have this candle burning, and it's just like a little sort of memorial and to say goodbye to the pet. And then you could also put this in front of a photograph of the pet. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Blessed be, and bye for now.